An American terrorist hijacks the world's most dangerous nuclear detonator, and taking that detonator into the Atlantic Ocean, they load it into a nuclear ballistic missile and aim it at the world's most powerful countries: America, Russia, China, and South Korea. And if this nuclear ballistic missile strikes these formidable countries, you can understand how terrifying the world's situation could become. Let's leave aside America, Russia, and China for a moment. If even a single missile falls on Kim Jong-un's country, meaning South Korea, note, Kim Jong-un is the leader of North Korea, not South Korea, but I am keeping the translation exact as per your script. This crazy Kim Jong-un alone is enough to wipe the entire world off the map. As a result, the responsibility to neutralize this nuclear ballistic missile falls on the assassins of our beloved Expendables team. And you know very well how deadly each member of this team is. And everyone's favorite assassin in this team, the bald Lee Christmas, is also on this mission. However, let me inform you that this mission is going to be the final mission of this Expendables team's life, meaning no more movies about their missions will be released after this one. So you can assume that this is going to be the most terrifying and biggest mission of their lives. I request everyone who hasn't subscribed to the channel yet to please leave a subscribe for the movie of your favorite assassin team's final mission. Along with that, let me inform those of you who love watching movies of these super assassins including Jason Statham, BD Story Recap has brought another channel especially for them. So I would tell you to subscribe to that channel and become a member of the new family. Your job is just to drop a subscribe, and my responsibility is to gift you explanation videos of such deadly movies. So let's not waste any more words and start the explanation of today's movie of the Expendables team's final mission. At the beginning of the movie, we see a chemical power plant in Libya, where it is seen that hundreds of army men have surrounded that entire power plant from all sides, because the world's most powerful nuclear detonators are kept here. And these nuclear detonators are under the overall supervision of the Libyan general himself. And inside that power plant, we see the Libyan army general along with his family. Meanwhile, a guard suddenly notices that a security personnel outside is not making any sound. As a result, upon coming in front of him, he sees that he is lying dead in a bloody state. Right at that moment, a sniper shot comes from nowhere and hits that guard in the chest. Immediately, tanks and helicopters start descending upon the area of that nuclear power plant in Libya. Those terrorists start launching heavy missiles from the helicopters, completely blowing away the army men below. They take only a few seconds to carry out this destruction of the entire power plant. After destroying everything around, a man comes out of that helicopter and starts walking towards the tank. He personally starts shooting and killing all the surviving army men there. After that, he climbs onto a tank, shoots a person, and shoves a rod into his throat. Then he starts asking him where those nuclear detonators they built are located. Consequently, to save his life, that Libyan security guard tells him that apart from their general, no one else knows the exact location of where these nuclear detonators are kept. As a result, he shoves that rod into the man's chest. And then, he proceeds towards the general's room. Exactly at the same time, we see the Expendables team leader, Barney, in America. He is seen heading towards his friend Lee's house on his iconic motorcycle. But when he reaches his friend Lee's house, he sees that his assassin friend is getting scolded by his wife. This proves that no matter how big of a tough guy you are, you have no value in front of your wife. We see another member of this team, Gunner, who was trying to customize his new rifle. Along with that, there were two other members next to Gunner. However, seeing Gunner's hairstyle here, Lee asks him how he ended up in this condition. Then, Gunner himself informs him that after completing the last mission, during his free time, he met a girl while playing Free Fire. And that girl really likes this kind of hairstyle. So, he styled his hair like this just to impress that girl. Anyway, while they were having such fun, a man named Marsh arrives there. This man named Marsh is a chief officer of the American CIA. He comes and introduces himself to the Expendables team and gives them all a mission. He states that this time you have to go on a mission to Libya. He hands over a file there, and in that file, we see the man who went to attack the Libyan army chief. CIA Chief Marsh tells the Expendables team that this boy's name is Iko Uwais. However, there is no reason to look down on him seeing his skinny appearance, because he is such a big American terrorist that he has his own gang along with several teams of his army. And now you have to go to Libya to take down this terrorist named Iko. Anyway, after the Expendables team understands their entire mission, that Officer Marsh leaves from there. But keep this man named Marsh in mind a little bit. After understanding the whole mission, the Expendables team now boards their iconic plane. And taking that plane, they set out for their final mission, from America to Libya in the dark of night. I have brought a great app for you where thousands of people are earning. And yes, you can too, simply by playing games on this platform. There is a huge collection of games here where you can earn by using your gaming skills, strategy, and predictions. Here, you can also earn by predicting in live games like cricket, football, and volleyball. By making a new registration and using my promo code BDS01, you are getting a maximum bonus of 45,000 taka and 250 free spins, where there is a chance to win gifts on every spin, and you can withdraw the earned money through Bcash, bank, and other easy methods. There is even 24/7 customer support here. You will get a solution to any problem via phone call. Those who haven't tried it yet are missing out on a huge blast. You are even getting a 125% bonus on your first deposit. So why the delay? Register newly from the pinned comment. And grab your bonus using my promo code BDS01. This was just an advertisement. There is a possibility of financial loss here. Therefore, before investing in these sites, you are requested to invest knowingly or at your own risk. However, meanwhile in Libya, we see that the terrorist named Iko, along with his boys, has killed all the security guards at that power plant and completely ravaged the entire area. And with that, he has reached the Libyan army general's room. There, he ties the Libyan army general to a chair and takes his son hostage, and now starts telling him, "If you don't give me those detonators, I will finish off your entire family right in front of your eyes." However, the Libyan army general looks at him and declares, "Even if you finish off my entire family, I won't let you get your hands on a single detonator." Upon hearing this, Iko shoots his wife right in the head in front of the general, killing his wife right in front of him. But even after all this, when the army general refuses to give him the detonators, he then shoots his son in the head right in front of the army general and kills him too. But right at that moment, one of their men comes and informs him that they have found the location of those detonators. Consequently, he now kills the army general as well. Then he starts collecting those detonators into a box. Here you might be wondering, what exactly are these ball-like looking things? These detonators are a type of nuclear explosive, and just one of these detonators is almost millions of billions of times more dangerous than any normal bomb. And if these detonators are loaded into a nuclear ballistic missile to attack any country, then you can assume that a small country like Bangladesh will vanish from the map of the world. And they have come here to take these detonators, with which they will instigate a war among China, Russia, America, and South Korea. But why they are going to do this, you will find out the story right at the end of the movie. Right at that moment, we see the Expendables team's plane, which has already entered Libyan airspace. However, this terrorist named Iko was so clever that he had left automatic missile launchers at the entrance of Libyan airspace. As a result, as soon as the Expendables team's plane enters Libyan airspace, missiles are launched automatically, and they start rushing towards their plane. But Barney's plane was no ordinary plane. He starts destroying those missiles by firing flare guns from the plane, and finally manages to land the plane on the ground. As soon as the plane lands on the ground, the assassins start getting down onto the Libyan soil with their vehicles. from inside the plane, and Barney takes the plane back up into the sky to make a U-turn and come back to land. Anyway, upon reaching that power plant in Libya, Gunnar takes position from a distance with his sniper to provide cover for the rest of his team, and Lee, along with the rest of the team, starts advancing towards that power plant in a vehicle where that terrorist Iko and his gang are. While advancing in that direction, Lee sees that Libyan army men are lying around badly injured in a very bad state. Meanwhile, Gunnar sees that the terrorist Iko is trying to get into his car after collecting those detonators into a box. Consequently, he aims his sniper at that terrorist Iko and finally takes a shot. However, due to having eye problems from playing too much free fire, he misses this shot, and this was the biggest and first mistake of the Expendables team. Gunnar once again loads his sniper and takes 2 more shots, but he fails to hit Iko with these 2 shots as well. However, Iko immediately realizes that a sniper might have arrived nearby, but Iko, without looking in that direction, gets into his car with those detonators to head towards the helicopter. Meanwhile, when Lee sets up his machine gun and drives his car towards Iko's gang, now Iko's gang starts asking who these people are. Iko orders his gang to reduce them to dust, whoever they might be. As a result, upon getting the order, Iko's men start firing at Lee's car. Loading his mounted machine gun, he now starts a continuous hail of bullets on the men. In this way, Lee single-handedly keeps taking down the entire gang while moving forward and chasing them. He enters a factory. Meanwhile, when Iko's men were utterly unable to counterattack against Lee's assault, and also when they realize that this bald man is no ordinary guy, now they drop the thought of killing him from their heads and start heading straight towards the helicopter. However, while taking down and chasing those gang members, Lee hits a massive crane's hammer, and his entire machine gun flies off the car. When Iko's men see this incident, they now aim their machine guns at Lee to blow him away. But Lee takes a knife out of his pocket and throws that knife into the magazine of that force's machine gun. As a result, because the knife enters the magazine, the entire machine gun gets jammed. Taking this opportunity, Lee tells his friend to steer their car towards that machine gun. As their car is steered towards that machine gun per Lee's instruction, Lee jumps from their car onto that car in one leap. Then, taking a gun out of his pocket, he first takes out the driver of that car. Then he goes to the machine gun at the back of the car, and pulling out the knife from the guy holding the machine gun, he stabs it into his chest and throws him off the car. Along with that, he takes full control of the machine gun into his own hands. On the other hand, outside, we see Barney, who had taken a U-turn with his plane and was circling over that nuclear power plant in Libya again. Along with that, he keeps dropping large bombs from his plane, blowing up all the gang members below. Meanwhile, we see Gunnar, who, picking up his sniper, was rapidly advancing towards the power plant in a car. But suddenly, another car comes from outside and completely blows away his car. But as those terrorists get out of their car to kill Gunnar and his friend, now another assassin in Gunnar's car, even in that upside-down state, shoots and lays them out on the ground. On the other hand, it is seen that the whole team, including Lee and Gunnar, engages in the battle from the front line, and a terrifying battle begins there. But in the midst of this, the leader of those terrorists, Iko, aims a terrifying missile launcher at Barney's plane, and in the blink of an eye, he fires a missile at Barney's plane. That missile comes and hits the engine of Barney's plane, and his plane loses control. When Barney's plane, losing control from the missile strike, was tossing about right at that moment, the terrorist leader Iko aims his sniper at Barney's plane. Then he aims his sniper at the wing of the plane and takes a shot with his sniper right at the fuel tank. Due to taking a direct sniper shot to the plane's fuel tank, fire spreads throughout the entire plane, and losing control, the plane now starts falling straight towards the ground. Seeing this incident, Lee opens the valve of a cylinder attached to his car and releases that car towards the missile launcher. As soon as the car released by Lee collides with that missile launcher, a terrifying blast occurs there. Along with that, the missile launcher is also destroyed, as Barney's plane, completely wrecked, continues to fall towards the ground. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the terrorist leader Eco boards the helicopter with that box of detonators and comfortably escapes from there. And meanwhile, seeing this condition of Barney's plane, Lee starts running towards the plane, because the plane has crashed in such a way that if Barney is in that plane, he will not survive by any means. The entire plane comes and crashes forcefully onto the ground, and fire spreads all around from the entire plane. Lee runs directly to the plane, and he sees right in front of his eyes that Barney's plane is completely wrecked and scattered all around. As he walks step by step right up to the plane, he sees that Barney is lying dead inside the plane, completely scorched and burnt in the fire. By then, everyone from the Expendables team arrives near the plane, and everyone completely breaks down at such a tragic death of their team leader. As the scene shifts, we see everyone once again inside a club in America. Due to failing so badly in this mission, and also due to the premature death of their team, leader Barney, they decide that they will completely disband this team, and everyone will go back to their own jobs, in their own ways. But that American CIA officer Marsh arrives there and forbids them from making this decision. He informs them that I myself will help you with information to kill that terrorist. If you fail to take down those detonators, then those ballistic missiles will trigger a terrible war among the 4 countries, the consequences of which will be very horrific. However, anyway, Lee cannot accept the CIA officer's words by any means. So he clearly states it. He will not work in a team where his friend Barney is not present. As a result, he bids farewell to everyone right from that place and leaves. After leaving the Expendables team, Lee now starts looking at job advertisements in the newspaper to return to his past life's job. Seeing an ad from the newspaper, he goes to join a new job in his life as someone's bodyguard, and thus begins his new life as a girl's bodyguard. Quite a few days after this, one day when he returns home from his duty, he finds out that his wife Jenny herself has joined that Expendables team. Here he learns from his wife that this Expendables team of theirs will be led by another member of their own team, Gunner. Anyway, when Lee finds out about all this, he doesn't forbid his wife anymore. Instead, he hands his wife a knife. Along with that, he tells her, "Whichever mission you go on, keep this knife with you. Then no one will be able to harm you." Do you think this assassin will let these terrorists go so easily? Those who killed his friend Barney. He couldn't even sleep until he had taken their heads off. But he didn't let anyone figure out this fact. And he had planted a GPS tracker inside the knife he gave to his wife. Now, following that GPS tracker, he will embark on the mission alone to blow away the skulls of those gang members by himself. By tracking the location of the knife given to his wife, he now finds out that his wife has currently gone on this mission to Thailand. So, without any further delay, he takes his preparation and lands in Thailand. Coming here, as he goes to a riverbank, he meets a normal guy there and tells him to help him cross this river with his boat. The boy you are seeing here is named Deecher. However, after seeing Lee, this boy named Deecher starts getting a little suspicious. As a result, he attacks Lee, but Lee catches him. And right at that moment, Deecher sees Barney's ring on Lee's hand. Seeing this, Deecher directly asks Lee, "Where did you get this ring?" Lee tells him that this belonged to a very close friend of his named Barney, but some terrorists murdered his friend Barney very brutally, and he has come to Thailand to take revenge for Barney's murder. Here, we learn that this boy named Deecher knew Barney from before. Actually, Barney once saved this boy from a terrible danger. When Deecher learns from Lee that the terrorists who killed Barney are currently in Thailand, now seeing Lee's hand, he swears that wherever those terrorists are in Thailand, he will find them. He will also join this mission, and he will cut them each into pieces, because Barney was a very good man. On the other hand, we see that American CIA officer Marsh in Thailand, who had personally explained all the responsibilities of this mission to the Expendables team. There he informs that this terrorist Eco, taking those hijacked detonators from Libya, is positioned on a ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and he has loaded them into the ballistic missiles on that ship, and has targeted those missiles towards America, Russia, China, and South Korea. So your job will be to reach that ship, take down those terrorists, and neutralize those ballistic missiles. If you cannot neutralize those ballistic missiles within the specific time, then assume that along with us, a few countries of the world will vanish. Understanding the mission, Gunner and his team members set off for that ship. They take off in a plane, and arriving over the specified ship, they start jumping from the plane into the ocean onto that ship using parachutes. Meanwhile, we see Lee taking that boy Detcher with him, advancing in a boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean towards the location of that ship. Gunner and everyone on his team land on that ship one by one with parachutes, but they see that this ship is completely dead silent. As a result, they draw their guns and start searching the whole ship step by step. In this way, when they go inside the ship, they see there too that there are no people inside this ship. But suddenly, as soon as they enter a deck, the room lights suddenly go off, and about 1,000 people come from all sides and take all of them hostage, meaning Gunner and everyone on his team get caught by the terrorists' men even before starting the mission. They are captured, their weapons are taken away, and they are kept imprisoned inside a deck of the ship. On the other hand, we see Lee has arrived near that ship in the boat, and he climbs onto that ship using a rope, but he also sees that there are no people on this ship. But he is no amateur player either. He realizes that this might be a trap for him, so he loads his gun and keeps moving forward step by step very carefully. Suddenly, as someone points a gun from behind to take him hostage, without giving any chance, he pulls a knife out of his pocket, stabs it into the guy's throat, and finishes him off right there. After that, he continues moving inside step by step. After advancing a little, he sees 4 guards standing in one place, chatting. Here too you can understand what he did to these 4. Upon laying out those 4, Lee suddenly notices that the knife he gave to his wife is in the pocket of one of them there. Now Lee starts interrogating him. Tell me, where is the girl you took this knife from currently located? Consequently, he finds out his wife's location from him. Then he finishes him off too. Right after finishing off those 4, he sees a Chinese axe lying there in that spot. And seeing this axe, he likes it quite a bit. As a result, he takes that axe with him. As soon as he comes outside from that place, suddenly around 100 men come from all sides and surround Lee. Consequently, Lee alone starts catching them one by one and laying them out with headshots there. But when many more gang members keep coming there, Lee now picks up a motorcycle. And an automatic machine gun rifle was mounted on that motorcycle. Lee now rides that motorcycle and starts advancing towards the ship's deck. And with the automatic machine gun attached to the motorcycle, he completely blows away whoever comes in front of him. While moving forward, blowing people away like this one by one, suddenly another person appears in front of him with exactly the same kind of automatic machine gun mounted on a motorcycle. Now both of them start riding their motorcycles towards each other. But Lee acts smartly here and drives his motorcycle over the wing of a fighter jet standing there. And that gang member has a fatal collision with that fighter jet along with his motorcycle. In this way, when Lee had finished off everyone, suddenly someone starts firing grenades at him from atop the ship's deck. However, Lee somehow saves himself and slowly takes shelter towards the rear deck of the ship. Then he loads his sniper and closes his chapter with a single headshot. At that time, on the other side of the ship, it is seen that the boy named Detcher has also climbed onto the ship, and with his kung fu style, he starts laying out all the terrorists. Anyway, outside, Lee and Detcher keep taking down the gang members, and inside, it is seen that the rest of the Expendables team members have found a way to escape from there. So they start coming out of the ship through that route. Right at that moment, 2 guards arrive there and aim their rifles, telling them to surrender. But right at that moment, Lee comes and stands there. And without giving any chance, firing, back to back, he blows away both of them with headshots. Anyway, rescuing everyone on the team, they finally reach those detonators. And right here they learn that those detonators have been loaded into this ballistic missile. Along with that, a timer has been set there. And these ballistic missiles are currently aimed at 4 countries, meaning America, Russia, China, and North Korea. As soon as the countdown finishes, these ballistic missiles will strike those 4 countries, and they have very little time in their hands to neutralize these missiles. As a result, they spread out in all directions, and catching them one by one, they start blowing their skulls off. On the other hand, that boy named Decha uses his knife to chop them up one by one and take their heads off. If you want to get the real feel of this scene in the movie, then you have to watch this movie at least once. Because the level of action and bloodshed shown here is actually impossible to make you feel just by explaining. In this way, every member of the Expendables team keeps catching individual terrorists and finishing them off one by one, keeps laying them on the ground. While killing like this, Lee suddenly comes face to face with the terrorist leader Iko. No matter how big of a terrorist Iko is, to Lee, he is just a little child. Consequently, Lee, without giving Iko any chance, starts beating him up so badly that in the blink of an eye, he beats him to a pulp. Then he shoves that Chinese axe he brought along into Iko's chest. After that, he asks him, "Tell me, in whose hands is the control key for these ballistic missiles?" As a result, in the final moments of his life, Iko informs him that the control key for these missiles is with their boss. Lee asks him, "Tell me, what is your boss's name?" Iko reveals that his boss's name is Marsh, meaning this man named Marsh is that very chief officer of the American CIA, meaning keeping the traitor right in their own house. They have come to chase the enemy in the forest. Upon hearing this, Lee is initially severely shocked. However, Lee already had suspicions about this man named Marsh. Right at that moment, Lee spots that man named Marsh on the ship. Consequently, in fierce anger, he fires at that man with the rocket launcher in his hands. And the fire from this rocket launcher hits the fuel tank of a helicopter placed in front of them. As a result, a massive explosion occurs there, and that helicopter falls from the ship into the water. Anyway, when the environment settles down, Marsh sees that Lee is the one who fired at them. And he has a rocket launcher in his hands, meaning Marsh has understood that Lee has learned all his secret information. So he orders his men to end Lee's chapter. When they launch a furious attack on Lee there, Lee now escapes from there and takes shelter under the ship's deck. In this way, the severe attack on Lee continues. However, amidst this attack, it comes to Lee's mind that their all team members must be evacuated from this ship first. Otherwise, as soon as the countdown finishes and the missiles launch, this whole ship will be blown up. So he starts lowering each member of their team using that boat of his tied to the back of the ship and tells them to get out of this ocean. There, Lee's wife Jenny bids him farewell with an emotional moment. And Lee promises her that he will definitely return to her from this ship. Then Lee, putting his own life on the line, tries to take control of that ship, because no matter what, these missiles must be neutralized from launching. So he first goes to the ship's engine room, and from that place, he starts lowering the ship's propellers downwards. Those propellers fall underwater below the ship, and as soon as they get stuck on the rocks, the entire ship starts to completely flip over. Along with that, because Marsh's men lose the balance of the ship, they themselves also lose their balance. There, when Lee couldn't figure out how he was going to control this ship. Now he sees a red-colored button there. As soon as he presses that button, several small missiles set on the ship blast off. And all of Marsh's men on the ship are blown away together in this blast. But Marsh luckily survives this blast. Now he starts telling Lee, after planning for so long, I brought your entire team to this ship to finish you all off completely, because due to your oppression, my terrorists couldn't function properly. Meaning the plan of this American CIA officer was to send the entire Expendables team under the name of this mission, bring them to this ship, and eliminate them. Anyway, after Lee learns about this plan of his, he now charges towards him with intense rage. However, as Lee climbs down from atop the ship's deck, suddenly a bullet from a helicopter comes and hits Marsh's body. And with one shot, Marsh's entire body gets completely torn apart and scattered all over the ship. Now Lee sees that his friend Barney has taken such a deadly shot from this helicopter. Seeing Barney alive, at first, he couldn't even believe it. But when he realizes that his friend is still alive, seeing this makes him quite happy. And he joyfully climbs into Barney's helicopter. After Barney pulls Lee up into his helicopter, he starts destroying that ship by launching massive missiles from that helicopter. And due to the strike of these missiles, holes start forming in that ship, and water starts rushing inside the ship. As water pours in, that ship, like the Titanic, slowly sinks into the water along with the missiles. After destroying the ship, Barney and Lee, taking their helicopter, start flying away from that ship as fast as possible. After a while, it is seen that the countdown for the nuclear missiles armed with those detonators on that ship has finished, and along with that, a terrifying blast occurs underwater there. And this blast happens so terrifyingly underwater that after seeing it, you can probably understand what the condition of a country would have been if these missiles had fallen on any country. Anyway, after completing this mission, when they return to America, Lee now asks Barney, "So how did you survive that day?" Now Barney reveals a short story to his friend Lee. Barney says, 25 years ago from today, I went on a secret mission. But none of those who went on that mission are alive anymore. I was the only one who survived. However, during that mission, a file fell into the hands of your wife Jenny, and it was through your wife Jenny that I learned what could happen to us if we went on the mission to Libya. Along with that, I also learned from that file that the real mastermind of these terrorists is our CIA Chief Officer Marsh. So I had intentionally jumped from the plane with a parachute that day, and before jumping, I had slipped the ring from my hand onto the hand of another pilot present there, so that everyone would think Barney died in this battle. And right after that, I secretly met with your wife and requested her to come on this mission. And I kept it a secret from you, because I know very well that to take revenge for my murder, you would definitely follow your wife and reach these terrorists. Anyway, hearing all these words of Barney, Lee doesn't say anything else. His friend being alive is the biggest achievement for him. Right here, through this one joyful moment of theirs, the final mission of their lives ends here. So tell me, how did you like today's explanation? If you want to see such movies on my channel, then don't forget to subscribe. Along with that, please subscribe to the new channel that has been brought for you, because there are only a few people left to reach 1,000 subscribers on that channel. So show your power and subscribe. And my job will be to give you explanation videos of such deadly movies.